I took from your speech yesterday was that this is a war on woke.
Well, it is, because what we're seeing, sadly, in this country, and so many people are the victims of it, is a full-scale attack on Western values and the kind of society which is the reason why so many tens of millions want to come and live in this country, because we have democracy, we have freedom. And our institutions are under full-scale attack, subtly, without any authority, any mandate at all. And we've got to defend ourselves here and turn that around. We've got to win this battle, because otherwise we will never recognise the inheritance our parents gave us.
Well, there was a lot of outrage in your speech, sort of an apocalyptic tone. It was a grim picture you were painting, Winston. There was a sense of sort of growing overreach by the left or the government, conflict over race, identity, and sort of the nature of progress over our values. It feels very much like sort of culture war politics. Do you think we are in a culture war here in New Zealand?
They have declared the war and they're not going to win it.
Who's they?
Well, you've got a whole lot of elitist people who are making all these changes without so much as any consultation in education with parents or with the population out there. The Joe Blogs and Mary Blogs out there, the taxpayers' hard-earned money is being spent on countless projects which is not to the advantage of this country.
Who is they?
Well, you know who they are.
I don't know who they are.
There are those people who are saying, for example, that this is a colonising country and that we're a retarded society and we have to change the whole thing, beginning with our constitution. Then they argue that we've got to have two types of government in this country, 50-50, and that's what partnership means. They argue, for example, that Treaty Waitangi was about partnership when it was not. And then they argue that the Maori did not cede sovereignty.
Now, can you name one of these elitist woke individuals? Can you just name one for us?
I'll be here for the next day.
Just one.
Who these elites are. No,
I just want one. People want to know.
Well, could I ask you this? Why do I hop on Air New Zealand, for example, and find that I'm flying in a waka in the sky? It's preposterous. Why do I see waka kotai here, you know, a boat on the road going down the street in big words and a little bit in English? Why am I going to, for example, hospitals where everything is Maori is big? That's for 5% of the population understand Maori, and 95% don't understand. Well, see what I mean?
I do see what you mean.
I could go on, and I did in my speech yesterday set out those circumstances.
Is this just fanning xenophobia, though?
Pardon?
Is this just fanning xenophobia?
Well, if you think that telling the people the truth and saying that you're not going to put up with this takeover of our culture, our heritage, is fanning phobia, then you've got a very bad understanding of what the word phobia means.
Well, I want to come back to the point that you were just making, because as you rightly point out in your speech, we have got very big issues facing this country. You've said health is our #1 crisis.
It is.
But the only concrete health idea that I could see in your speech yesterday was to rename Te Whatu Ora. And that is not going to make a blind bit of difference to people on waiting lists, is it?
I don't understand why you've asked that question that way. This is the first of hundreds of speeches around this country. You've only got so much time to say so many things, and I set out all the circumstances which we're going to focus on in the coming months in this campaign. I'm saying, first of all, attend to health, because in health, whereas in other things you can fix it up over time, in health people die.
Yes,
and they're
that's right.
dying without treatment. And I'm saying to the people, the #1 part of our policy is, this is your biggest crisis.
Yes. And so you're renaming, but so renaming Te Whatu Ora is not going to stop people dying. It's not going to stop people waiting for treatment. It's not going to fix the problem. So why bother with the energy on that? Why not get straight to the heart of the problem and give us something solid?
Can I ask you this? Why bother with a name that 95% of the country doesn't understand?
Yes, but you can spend a lot of... This is one of the pitfalls, I suppose, of cultural war politics, is that you can spend a lot of time and energy changing names and sort of reverse, virtue signalling in reverse, but actually it doesn't solve anything for anybody. It doesn't solve my problem if I'm waiting to get specialist treatment. Why not attack the big problems?
Well, we are going to.
When?
Well, I couldn't run the whole campaign in 1 hour at how I can before 400 people, could I?
You could put out a policy.
I set out what our priorities will be and said, watch the space as we unveil this over the next 6 months, and we will. Now, it's not cultural war. We are stopping people undemocratically, elitists in the extreme, taking over the country from the mass majority who don't like what they see.
Do you know what the issues are for many of the people that I meet out and about around the country? I know that you're out and about around the country too. It's rebuilding their lives down in Gisborne and Kairāwhiti.
Exactly.
Renaming things is not going to help those people.
Well, obviously you're a defender of these woke, silly names.
No, I'm a challenger of the cultural war politics that you were peddling yesterday.
I've come in for a serious discussion about what I spoke to the people about yesterday, and there was a whole lot of things that had people cheering in the aisles because they know that last there's a defender of the things they stand for.
I'm asking you about real-world concerns.
And this is real world, and real world means this. We've got problems like health, we've got Cyclone Gabriel's disaster. These things need to be fixed.
Yes.
And you've got politicians waving their hands around on TV and been talking to you about what they're going to do in every other area that doesn't matter, whilst they don't deal with areas that do matter. We're getting back to the real fundamentals of New Zealanders, and New Zealand people want to know about first world wages. They want our health system to work properly for them. They want educational escalators to take their people as far as they can go, and they want housing that is safe and they can afford. We've never left off those four things.
So, but you're not telling people how you will achieve those things for them in office.
Look, I have set out yesterday the priorities, and I am telling people all of that. And I'm coming on a show to be interviewed by some person who wants me to unveil the whole manifesto all in the space of one day.
Just a little bit.
When there's 6 months to go. I gave out a lot of it yesterday, and the people thought it was right.
Well, we've seen an education policy from National this week. We have seen a cost of living policy from the government. Other parties are putting their policies out there. Winston, why not you?
Because I am. That's why they're there.
Changing the name of things.
Why don't you focus on some of the things I said yesterday? I said, for example, gang association, when you're committing a crime against first responders, will get you minimum 6 months in prison.
But
that's a policy.
Yes, but it's not a new one.
No, because we passed that, we put that bill into Parliament before and didn't get it voted for, but my colleague did, and we're back again. This time, we intend to make sure it happens.
But it's not a new policy.
It is new policy in the extent that we've actually looked at the Act and seen what the defect is and why the law doesn't apply. Association as part of the gang, as you're committing this crime, gets you in 6 months minimum in prison. We've got to get on top of this because this is going on, and every night when you see that on TV...
How many people...
I know something about this. The Maori people are shamed by it. They won't say so, but they're shamed by it, and we do not want that characterisation going forward. I'm going to do something about it.
A quick one for you. How many people are you going to put in prison for assaulting first responders? Could be quite a few.
I've got to tell you, interviewing the priest minister, that was a confusing interview, I might add, as well.
I'm talking to you now, Winston.
But you don't seem to understand the figures. I mean,
What are the figures? What are the figures for people who have been assaulting first responders?
Excuse me, just... You'll get an answer. Ram raids went up by 465% last year. Didn't you not know that? All the crime figures she was talking about were false. We had the figures out, and they were part of my speech yesterday. Did you not read that part? All right, let me get to the part. Look, it's not about a number of people in prison. We've got at the moment a catch and release policy. They're grabbing people and letting them go. There was a man the other day, he was...
But if you're grabbing them and locking them up, I'm just asking how many.
Can I describe to you why we're going to change things here?
No, I understand it's very serious.
There are a whole lot of people in prison who should not be there. It's a waste of $135,000 of taxpayers' money. That man was sent for fraud from the Western Council the other day for $77,000 of fraud being sent to prison. Is a waste of time in prison. He should be out there working for the community.
So you want to take white-collar criminals out of prison and put people who...
I want to say something sane and sensible, and I hope you listen.
I am.
We're going to take people out of prison who could be out there in the community doing something for the community while they're serving their sentence, and because they're not a threat to the community because of the nature of their crime. And I want people in prison who are a threat to the community. OK,
well, your party vote was decimated, actually, last time in 2020.
And guess why?
110,000 people left your vote. I'm going to ask you why, and who are those people?
Guess why? Because in April of 2020, the Serious Fraud Office launched an attack on New Zealand First. They've been smashed twice in the court on this matter, but you went along and believed them. You all, oh, yes, you did.
I was not in the country in 2020.
Yes, but your program, your channel, your medium did it all over the country.
So,
and then we had the lockdown.
Was it a witch hunt?
We had a lockdown in the campaign where we couldn't campaign at all. That was a fluke election. We've all admitted that. Look what happened to National and everybody else. But this is 2023. This is different. So
you've also said we've got to take the country back.
Yes.
Who from?
From those people who are seeking to change it without any authority mandate, have never campaigned on it and doing it silently behind your back. You know.
The government has a pretty strong mandate right now.
Already? For what?
They have a majority in Parliament. I'm not sure that you can get a greater mandate.
Did they have a mandate for light rail, which has gone to now 29 billion and rising? No, they didn't. Did they have a mandate, for example, for capital gains tax? No, they didn't. Guess why? Because we are the handbrake that stopped them.
Yeah, well, the great irony is actually that you were the person who put them there. You were the queenmaker all the way back in 2017. So you let the wolf into the hen house and then you got locked out.
This is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. Can you remember who ruled out Winston Peters? All those years before? No, stop. Please stop. For years they ruled me out, and then the first thing...
I'm not talking about this. I'm saying that
I'll let you into confidence.
Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister, back in 2017.
And repeating a fallacy does not improve your questions.
So you didn't? Mate, you weren't the Queen Maker?
The first thing that Bill English said to me on the first meeting, we had a meeting with the National Party first.
Oh, I don't want to relitigate all of the bits and pieces. But the thing is that it was your support that put the Prime Minister, that put Labour into government.
You're going down a foxhole, you're going to find a fox.
Well, it's better than going down a rabbit hole. Then, and people who are on the right, who are potentially national supporters, I don't know if they've forgiven you for that yet, Winston. What are you going to do to win them back?
Burbling on like that does not help your argument. Can I just say, Mr. English said to me in our first meeting, "Can I take you aside, Winston?" I said, "Yes, sir." And I go over there, and he says, "She says she's got the numbers, but she hasn't." And I'm realising he's telling me that Judith Collins is going to organise a coup against him.
Oh, my goodness, we're really...
No, you don't think it's important?
What about National Enact? Could you work with them?
This is extraordinarily fascinating. You don't think that's a big moment? I told my colleagues...
I think it's a distraction from the point that you put the Labour Party into government back in 2017. But that is all we've got time
I'm sorry, Rebecca,
yes,
that
Winston.
You talk that way, but it is the reason why we had to make the decision we made.
OK, well, We've run out of time, but it is such a pleasure to chat to you this